Today on Deception Decoded, you've probably done it. I've done it. Use ChatGPT or another chatbot to answer your health questions. In fact, this is what some people are saying about it online.
So ChatGPT is already replacing doctors. Like AI is already doing a better job than doctors.
I have to say it. ChatGPT is better than doctors. It is. It is better than doctors.
What if I told you that AI is already saving lives, and in some cases, it's even better than doctors?
Spoiler alert, it's not better than doctors, but how solid is the answer that you're getting from that chatbot? Timothy Caulfield from the University of Alberta is part of a team of researchers who analyzed chatbot responses to health questions. Timothy, always great to see you. What did you find?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to emphasize, as you noted, just how popular these chatbots are becoming in the health space. You know, over the past week on just ChatGPT, probably 250 million people have searched for a health answer. It's incredibly popular. You know, studies show in Canada, a huge percentage of Canadians are using it. So what we decided to do is get a sense of how accurate are these chatbots. And what we did is we looked at 5 of the most popular: ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, etc. We asked them about some, controversial topics: stem cells, vaccines, nutrition, fitness, cancer, to get a sense of how good the responses were. And you know what? Wasn't great. Wasn't great. We found about 50%, 49.6% of the answers were problematic. And listen to this, 20% were really problematic. And we really stress test these chatbots. And when it comes to a health answer, I think even 10% would be problematic. So when you're looking at, almost 50% being not great, that's a problem.
Did any of them perform well?
So good question. We did find a variance. Gemini was, a little bit better than some of the others, and Grok. So Grok's the X one was particularly bad. So we did see that kind of variance, and we also saw variance on topic, which I think is also important to emphasize. Some topics like nutrition and fitness were really bad, and that kind of makes sense given the mess that's online about that topic. Others like vaccines and cancer were better, but still not great. Still not great when a topic is as important as cancer cures, for example. You kind of want the answers to be good.
Okay, well, speaking of those answers, one of the things that throws me when you ask a chatbot a question is that the answer has so much conviction behind it. It seems like they're so sure that they're right that it sells you on it.
Yeah, this is a really important point. And by the way, there's been other research to back up why this is a problem. So yeah, the chatbots are kind of confidently wrong. That's a good way to portray it. And there's very little nuance, right? There's this sycophancy problem. The chatbot wants to kind of respond in a way that kind of makes you feel better, makes it feels like you're going down the right path. And we also found so we asked over 250 questions. Only once did they say, go to a doctor. I'm not going to answer this, go to a doctor. And I think we had 2 refusals to answers, one around steroid use, which I hope they say, we're not going to tell you how to take steroids, and one on, unproven cancer treatment. So again, you'd think that would be, obviously they're not going to answer that. So there's this tendency to answer even when they don't have a good response.
How are these chatbots different than Google? Because people have been turning to the internet for their health answers, much to our doctor's displeasure, for years.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good point. And we've studied this. We've studied the Google responses too. Also not great. Okay. But at least when you interface with those Google responses, the search results, you're kind of using your critical thinking. You're sifting through different responses. With the chatbot, you get that little summary. And studies tell us that, we often just look at the summary. We're less likely to kind of verify it. And if we like the response, we're also more likely to like it. So you get this bad feedback loop where you have bad responses being not checked and being liked. And that's just a terrible ecosystem.
Timothy, I feel like the risks are really high here. If you get bad advice on cancer treatment, for example, things go sideways awfully fast. Has your team documented the fallout from this tech?
So we haven't, but we definitely need that kind of research to back it up. And in addition to that, we know other studies, for example, the Canadian Medical Association found that those that rely on chatbots more likely to fall for misinformation. And there have been other studies that have shown, sort of exactly that. Even though people will say, there's a little bit of a paradox here. People will say they don't trust the results despite what, the comments off the top. A large percentage of people say, I don't really trust the results, but we know they use them. They'll also say, don't trust it, still use it. And by the way, we all do that.
Okay, the federal government, this is timely because, as we know, the federal government announced new legislation just yesterday to address concerns around social media and AI chatbots. We heard a lot about protecting kids under 16 and stopping what's considered harmful content. That's the words the government uses. But is anyone talking about this as part of regulations? It's certainly harmful if you're getting the wrong cancer advice.
So we definitely are seeing the discussion of regulating AI in general. Now, as you know, in the federal proposal, we are seeing restricting access to AI chatbots for those under 16. But I think we need more attention writ large, right? We need to make sure that these chatbots are providing accurate information, and when they're not, it needs to be clear. The good news is there's kind of bipartisan support for regulating AI. So often we're a polarized society. Thank you, Internet. But so often we're polarized. Here we're seeing bipartisan support in both Canada and the United States for some kind of regulation over AI. That's a nice door of opportunity.
Okay, you use the word accurate there, and this next point that you raised to me earlier blew my mind. To test AI misinformation online, scientists in Sweden invented a fake disease. And major artificial intelligence systems then said it was real. Can you unbundle this for me and help me make sense of what happened?
Yeah, I think this is a really, really important example, kind of a little window into our dystopian future. What they did is they made up a fake disease, and then they made up fake studies. Like, they knew they were doing this, right? And then they uploaded the fake studies to preprints, so online kind of servers where you can put your studies. And then they went back and they asked the chatbots, is this disease real? Is it real? And the chatbot said yes. Think about that. Think about that. You can make this fake information ecosystem that can fool everyone. Really, really scary. This is a sign we need to take steps.
Okay, so is steps the answer, or should we just stop using chatbots for health advice? I don't think that's going to happen. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
No, AI is not going away. These chatbots aren't going away. And the other thing, a big caveat here, this area is moving forward so quickly. They are going to improve, but so many of these problems are baked into the algorithms, right? They're baked into the algorithms. So at a minimum, people should be very cautious for using these chatbots to get actual health advice. Use them maybe for basic information. Get your health advice from a health professional.
Timothy Caulfield from the University of Alberta, always great to have you. Thank you for this.
Thank you.